What's going on, everyone? I believe I'm live. Double check here on all the platforms. I think you're able to see we're out here. Let me see on Twitch to make sure we're good there. Are we live? Let's go to our channel here. You guys know I'm terrible at technology, so for me, I just got to double check everything, make sure I'm good before we get into it. I fired up a couple minutes early here just to make sure. Let's see here. Did my restream not work? Let's try this again. Doesn't look like I'm live right now. Let's see. Okay, looks like I just got there. Cool. So I'm now live on my personal Twitch. Let me double check to make sure I'm live on YouTube, which I believe I am. So you guys can find me on either platforms. Just as a reminder to make sure everybody knows basically how this works. Is basically it's a sub benefit for somebody who's subbing to our website and they get their questions answered. You guys can sit back and watch. If you are part of the website, make sure that you go into our Discord and have your questions fired up in there. I'll answer as many as I can. Obviously try my best to keep each question to a minimum just to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to, but for the most part we do our best to answer everything in there. So let me just get through here, make sure I got everything else minimized here. All right, so I don't see anybody on my Twitch yet. I do. You guys want to say something on YouTube or Twitch if you guys are watching, just so I know that you guys can see me. And I will jump over to the Discord. So it looks like, all right. So once I get confirmation from somebody that you guys can hear me, see me, then we'll jump right into the questions. Please excuse my coffee. I have some coffee this morning. This afternoon I'm exhausted. We had a lot of rain here in Orlando today and just kind of messed up my day a little bit. All right, cool. I see. Appreciate it, Mitch and Bachnos, for giving me the thumbs up that you guys can hear me. We're good to go. So, alrighty, let's start off with the first one. I'm going to start with somebody who's unable to get to office hours, dropped it right before office hours. It's Scary Gary. So if you're watching this, great, man. If not, just make sure that on the VOD you can see it. His question is, he was looking for ideas for a cover 3 bomb out of I-form wing and wants to know what we can do. All right. So this is going to be a live lab session. Haven't looked at this at all. Let's go ahead, throw cover 3 up there and just kind of look at some of the things that we've done in the past and see if we can duplicate them in I-form wing. I'm in the Texans playbook and I'm just going to kind of look at it. So first thing I want to do is just to see where people go ahead and line up and all that type of stuff. So I'll do PA Power O. I want to go to the wide side here just to see and test a couple things. Now, these are things that I like to do when I lab. So this is going to be good for everybody just to understand. I want to make sure that I want to look at all the motions. Where can this guy motion to? Can he motion any further? No. Okay. So fullback's really going to give us nothing. Can the running back motion to the outside? He can. Okay. So that's a possibility. We can use this guy in this. So first thing I'm going to do is look to see if we can do a short side bomb with the Y and the A and see if that works on next gen and see if that works. Just go out here. Does the guy go ahead? He does not. Okay. So that alignment does not allow for the short side bomb. I'm going to try it with the other player here with the B and just make sure we look at the short side bomb. And all we're doing right here is just looking at the tight ends route, the B and this. Let's see if we can get this guy to follow. Sort of, if you kind of throw that there. So if you look at that right away, two things I'm seeing here. First, the Sweeney is not a great fast tight end, and X got in its way. So I'm going to put the X on a streak. I'm going to move this guy over, block my running back, I remember correctly, I put the B on this and I put the Y on an in. So something like this. So let's see if we can get the outside corner to bite down. Sort of does again, but we don't have that ability to hold that one player. So basically what happened in the last play, we were able to hold that safety. So the other thing I want to do here is see if I can, let's look at this motion here. Can I do this? So this may be a little boring for some people that are looking for other questions, but I just want to kind of look to see if we can help this guy out first. All right, so that guy, you need that third route over there to make it work. So I'm going to give up on this for right now. I don't want to go too far into it. This would work if I just do this. You know, this is, but my concern is that we're basically getting this X to be too close to the B, and it's not going to help you. So, I mean, it could potentially, but if you saw that we did have this B over here, and basically you'd have to throw it there, and I wouldn't rely on it. So let's go look at a different concept. See if we can figure anything else out for him real quick. What I'm going to do is look at this PA post shot. And another thought I had was I just want to see where these guys line up. Can I do this? All right. So I want to put the A on a streak. I hate this new thing in next gen with these streaks. That bothers me to no avail. Let's see here. Does this guy go over here? We can kind of bomb it in that little spot there. I wouldn't rely on that just because of the way that he's in that spot. It's not great. Does the fullback go over there? Let's see. Fullback does not go all the way over. Okay, so I wouldn't do that. Now, just this in general, this play, a lot of times what you're going to be able to do is this X will get over the top to the right, but you can see how that guy got held. Okay, so what we're going to have to do is we need to hold that right corner. So let's see if we can hold that right corner by doing this. And then what I want to do here is actually do something like this. So see if we can get this to work. This is probably your best bet. Hopefully we'll go back and Scary Gary. I would say go with this for now. Basically, you're going to put the B on a smart routed out. You're going to take your running back, put him on a streak and motion him out. And then, you know, basically have your fullback be the one that blocks for you. I would double team the guy on the right just to make sure you got some extra blocking that direction. Seal it off, come across here, wait on it, and kind of throw that there. So without a whole lot of labbing, I think that's probably your best bet for now. If I come across anything that I can give you in the Discord, I will. But for now, it's probably our best way to bomb cover 3. All right. Drew Go Brazy is asking, for the gun empty game plan, I run it in CFM, but no one really runs man. So I was wondering what other abilities would you put on your other receivers other than route tech? So route tech's my favorite, obviously, because when it comes to empty, you want to make sure that you can beat man coverage no matter what. If you're not having that issue, there's a couple things that you can do. You know, depending on how much, I don't even know in CFM, it's not an AP thing. It's just basically you have opportunity to put it on players, I believe. So something I was thinking about today, I was actually talking to Rockets about this, and I really haven't tested it yet, but just an idea. When we do something like empty wide Texan, right? I'm thinking, and if anybody has the ability to test this for me while we're doing office hours, great, let me know. But we get a lot of blitzers, right? Say 2-4-5 odd, we have somebody who's blitzing us with pinch 2, right? Well, I'm thinking that if I put honorary lineman on this Y receiver, motion him in and make him a blocker. Actually, I'm the wrong player there. But basically what I'm trying to do here is seeing if I can get the ability to basically have a, let me just flip this real quick here for you. But getting somebody to where you have that ability to basically use that guy as a blocker for you, depending on which way you're going. So I'll do it this way. I'll do a different motion just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So this is something that if this works, this would be a good idea, is taking somebody that, you know, has honorary linemen. These guys are blitzing off the edge and you're going to hike it right here. And now you've got the ability to stonewall that guy because honorary alignment basically should block those guys. Haven't checked that out yet. That is definitely an idea that I'm thinking of when it comes to using a physical receiver on the outside or somebody that can be motioned in there. Besides that, if you're not playing man-to-man, your short in elites, your mid in elites, your deep in elites, all those actual directional is not going to help you whatsoever on route running. It's only going to help you with catching. I don't believe this year, this game, that's not that important. I feel like everybody catches the ball in traffic like 95% of the time. So I wouldn't go with any of those. Your best bet is to go with your basically your apprentices, the ones that get you some extra routes on the field, whether that's slot apprentice, outside apprentice, and you could just kind of run your scheme a little bit differently. Gives you a little bit more options. Besides that, you could do different things like, matchup nightmares and different stuff like that. But for the most part, you're not getting linebackers on you and all that type of stuff. So that's why I wrote empty in a way that didn't need any abilities to work. And that's very important when I write my game plans. I want it to be able to be for the most amount of people possible. So in a CFM, it's all luxury at this point. So I'd mess with honorary linemen. I'd mess with your slot apprentices, your ability to be able to do that. With route tech, someone who would have to play man at some point. I think if you're beating them up, people always revert to man at some point. So I'll at least have someone have route tech, so that way you have somebody to go to, or short and elite or anything like that, how we show it in the game plan. All right, let's see here. You know what? I might have my delay. Let me go ahead and check this. If I'm messing up, guys, I'm sorry here. Let me just check this here. When I play my games, I put a delay on so that I can kind of have an instant replay. So when I learn different things, let me know if that's better. I do apologize if I had a delay. Some of you guys are telling me that there's a delay on my audio and my voice. So hopefully I was able to correct that. So I'm going to hike the ball now so you guys can see it right now. And hopefully that went ahead and changed where we're at. If not, I can restart it. But if somebody can let me know if the delay is no longer on there. Let's see here. Okay, cool. It looks like it's fixed. Let's see. Next question. A lot of ability questions. Threat detector, good ability to have on right guard for empty. Threat detector is good. It definitely gives you an opportunity to know if extra people are coming, which is really good about making sure that you have the ability to know, do I need to have a hot route out there? Do I need to have, can I dot them up in a certain way? Should I expect pressure? I expect pressure every time in empty, and I basically run my offense that way. But it sure would be nice to know on plays that I didn't, that I can audible to something that's a little bit longer. So that's actually a great idea, to be honest with you. Something I might even try myself, because like I said, you don't really need a whole lot of abilities. So threat detector could be a really good one for you. Quarterback abilities. You've got Watson X Factor for the spread scheme. To me, Gunslinger's king. Pass lead elite or set feed elite would be, it's 1 and then 2A, 2B, basically, in my opinion. And then, depending on what you can do with Watson, anytime you have escape artists, it's always going to help you, obviously, because with a spread scheme or an empty scheme, there's a lot of holes to run in. And what I mean by that is you can just basically take off like in this little spot here. Obviously, I'm sending everybody. I don't remember what I was doing. But for the most part, if you have that ability where you can kind of see that you got a hole, getting these yards, like I definitely just coming off of them, but being able to escape artists in that little spot is actually really annoying to stop, to where if people are blitzing you to the outside, a lot of times you have that ability to, I'm going to double team this guy just to kind of show you what I mean. Waiting on it. Now you're going. With escape artists, that's really, really annoying, right? So it's a tactic you could use, if you're using a Watson or somebody with some speed and people are blitzing you like this, where they're blitzing, whether it's out of dollar, whether it's out of 2-4-5 odd, whether it's out of anything that they're blitzing on both sides and they're leaving that middle kind of open, being able to double team a player, get the players on there and then just take it off is really, really, one of those things that makes the user have to worry about it. So I'm definitely looking to get an escape artist in the future that's got that strong arm to really take this offense to another level. It's kind of what I did last year at the end of the year. But I'm not a guy who likes to roll out escape artists. I like to kind of use that type of run in my my arsenal to make them have to worry a little bit more about staying in the middle of the field, which allows me to kind of open up my offense a little bit. So East Coast Raiders asking, are we still running the empty plan as is, or do we mostly use the second tight end now? I mostly do it as is. What I do, and I think I mentioned it last office hours, but I know not everybody hits every one of them. I like to pick one formation. The formation I'm picking right now is empty wide slot. I go ahead and I take that player and just add a one formation. I just messed that up. And basically what I try to do is I put the outside player on that formation as a tight end. And that gives me the opportunity to now audible down, right? So I take this guy, put him as a second player. And so now anytime I call this formation, I want to audible down to gun wing slot offset or gun deuce, or if you really want to get into the running, basically we'll go to stretch alert probable, you kind of do this. And now you've got that ability to basically run your scheme to where if people are playing dollar or people are playing, sets where you've got that ability to make them pay for it, you can. So I pick one formation this way. Not every single time that they are, looking at the empty, they have to kind of pay attention. So I do it as is, but just picking one usually helps me out. All right, Mr. Nice Guy, what's your go-to against cover 3? I don't want to get too much into it to where everybody sees everything, but cover 3 is probably pretty easy when it comes to my favorite plays, fade out. And when it comes to, attacking fade out, I put the B on an in. And the first thing you're always going to look for is this X receiver, and you're going to throw it to him really, really quickly, right? That's going to make the user have to cover that spot. If that guy covers that spot, then what you're going to do next is you're going to basically look at the A to the B. So if their user goes ahead and covers their spot like this over here, now you're going to be able to throw it to this A because there's no user there. And then if they're covering both, maybe they're manning one up and whatever the case is, then your last reel is always going to be the B receiver. And this is just going to be an easy throw underneath. So it's a three-headed type of read when it comes to cover 3 and absolutely kill people with it. If you're looking for a bomb, put the Y on a actually you put the Y on a streak and move the X over. And this works if they're in any type of zone depths, meaning that they're playing a little bit deeper. And you can see here that this Y is going to get open right here in that little spot as well. So this play, just 2 little setups. Just want to make sure you see it. Against cover 3, absolutely torches it. Want to make sure that I don't want to go too far into it because not everybody is a member of our website here, so I'm not going to give away free content to where the people that are paying for it, they should be able to have that for themselves. But just as a little bit of a sprinkle in, just that one play itself, those are probably a little bit easier to kind of look at and kind of go over. But we label everything on our game plans based upon what they beat. So just to go through it, I mean, both those setups were in the game plan. So it's just a matter of going over it again. And I guarantee you're going to have 5 to 10 to 15 cover 3 beaters pretty simply. But those are 2 that are just pretty easy to use right away. Let's see here. So Drew Go Brazy is asking about corner outs or deep outs in the red zone. It's almost as if my zones kind of stop like 5 yards towards the sidelines. That's a thing. Unfortunately, red zone defense has spots in where they stop and where they are. I've done videos, you can definitely look in the past of where I see that they stop at an invisible fence 5 yards into the end zone. If you do, zone drops, I know I haven't really actually looked at it this year, but they didn't go, if you had zone drops, they stopped at the goal line. Their goal line zones don't play like every other zone. There's actually rules in there because basically in real life or whatnot, you're not going to play at the baseline of the end zone, right? What you're going to do is you're going to play a few yards in front of it because anything thrown over your head, you should be able to react to. But unfortunately, in Madden, if you're playing at that 4 or 5 yard mark depth in the end zone, there's still a lot of holes to throw. You can roll out, all that type of stuff. So that is a problem. Everybody has that same problem as far as where their players are going to play. Typically, I like to do cover 6. Is probably my favorite defense in the red zone. I feel like it gives you a little bit more opportunity to kind of clutter a lot of things up. It's not a cure-all, but it definitely makes things take longer. And if as a user you can take away one of their reads, it kind of forces them to be a little bit tougher to throw the ball. So there's really not, you can see right now, red zone offense has definitely gotten easier this year in my mind with a lot of the meta plays out of bunch and a lot of different things. But it's kind of one of those weird things. If you have a red zone plan, it's easy. If you don't, it's not. But just because of the way the zones play, it's a little bit tougher. All right. Mad Gamer, difference between set feet and pass lead. If you're a player who likes to move around with your quarterback a lot, you're going to want pass lead. If you're a guy that likes to stay in the pocket, make your reads, don't really, go back and forth, don't really scramble, set feet lead is basically, better in that regard. You're going to get that same velocity, bonus when you throw the ball. It's just one is going to be a little bit more consistent if, you're setting your feet, that's when you're getting it. And the other one obviously gives you a little bit more opportunity to do it other than when your feet are set. So not much of a difference of what it does. It's just depending on what type of player you are, can change the way that is. All right. So Scary Gary, I did went ahead and show that. I looked at the play PA post. I'll just show it to you real quick as far as which play. If you want to go check the VOD, let's go ahead. I know that you're here now. I might as well just show it real quick for you. Kind of the bonus of being a sub, right? Being able to get that ability. So you want to start with the right hash mark. What I told here was put the B on a smart routed out. Take your running back, put him on a streak, motion him over, and then double team the outside player over here. So that way your line goes that way. And you're basically going to be hitting the X. You're going to have to take a little time to kind of get out here a little bit. And then you're going to see here how the X is going to get over the top over here. Unfortunately, I definitely got a little bit more pressure than I wanted to, but this is definitely a way to do it. And what you're doing is you're taking this running back here to essentially hold that that safety. I'm actually going to smart route the X and see if that helps us a little bit. I didn't try that earlier, but that may give it a little bit sharper of a turn. So I'm going to try to stay in here. I hate under center, but yeah, see, smart routed actually worked really, really well for where it was. But with the smart route, he stopped in the middle of the field. So you're going to have to take your chances there of, do I throw it before he gets to the middle of the field? I'll show you that with the smart route. So just so you guys know, smart route posts do that a lot. They'll stop right where he hits the X in the middle of the field. So if you can throw it before he hits that X, you can see how you're going to be able to catch that ball and get that, pretty deep ball. But if you want it to be where it's kind of be a 1-point score, you're going to be able to have to do that. So let's do this. I'll show you one last time. This way we get on to the next questions. But because you're here, I might as well just go ahead and help you out. You can see here, that's going to be kind of the throw that you're looking for. See how that works out for you. All right, let's see here. LSU Hal, struggling empty to read coverage. A lot of people are playing baseline or man line. Any tips? there's no tips I can give you, to be honest with you, when it comes to baseline. The reason why is it's baseline for a reason. It's to disguise what they're doing. So what you really got to do is you got to figure out a couple different things. This is the way I look at it. If you have identifier, a lot of times people are going to give you tells on how they move their or who they're using before the snap. So a lot of times, you know, depending if they're very consistent with the same guy that they're using, then obviously they're not giving you that tell. Sometimes people will click, you know, they don't do hot route adjustments. They basically click on and change people as they go. That's another tell, is what the case is. But for the most part, when it comes to baseline defenses, and I'll just basically show you what I mean here, it's about reading what you're looking at, right? And that's why they are tough, right? So in my opinion, if you're having struggles with this, let me just call cover 4 drop and kind of do this, right? So we'll go into empty. And let's look at, I would say you want to minimize the side of the field just to one side to start off with, right? If you're trying to read the entire field, that's where you're going to get yourself in trouble, right? So here's a baseline press, right? So it doesn't matter what they're doing, it all looks the same. So if you look at it here, you got everybody in the same spots. There's really no alignment change. There's no change in differences. If they set their baseline, you know, prior to the game, then they're going to come out baseline. All you have to do is press. So in this instance, you know, basically you want to make sure that you're reading, you know, 2 players to start and then having a third read as the backside. So I'll just do my favorite play, right? So here I'm looking at X as my first read. So if they're doing anything like cover 2, let's see if I have pinch 2. I don't have it in here. I'll show it in a second. Where I'm going here, the first thing I'm looking for is always this X right here in that little spot, right? So what I'm doing is I'm making myself a 2-step read. If it's cover 2 in a soft squat, we know that this Y is going to be open in our scheme. If it's a cover 3, cover 4, we know the X is going to be open. We're going to go that route. Now, a lot of times, if you've done this guy's going to jet out here and he's going to try to stop it, right? Well, that's where the other routes are going to come into play and how you're going to be able to get him to stop. But what it happens is you're not really reading coverages at this point. You're reading routes and adjusting to your quick reads, right? So for me here, if they're doing something like this to now, you know, I'm trying to, I don't have all my things here. So say cover 3, right? So they're doing this. I think it's, you know, it's one thing. It ends up being another. If this guy juts out here when he does this, now I'm reading my next read, which is my A receiver. So you really have to have in your mind right away, what's my 1-2? I know that's on the left side. I know it's going to be the 1-2 over there. That's my first 2 reads. I can look at 2 reads really, really quickly before the pressure gets to me. And then I have to identify what my third read is if those 2 aren't open because the user took it away. So it's much tougher when you don't have that pre-snap read. But what I guess my best way of telling you is you really got to get your progressions down. And I always start with my progressions to where I'm going to start off with saying my progression is going to start on the left side of the field or the right. I'm not going to go ahead and say I'm going to pick a play where my first progression is on the left, my second progression is on the right, my third progression is on the left. You don't have enough time for that. You really have to know, right? So like in a play where we've talked about, you know, in empty, I'll go ahead and look at this here. Say it's we don't know if it's cover 3, cover 4, cover 2. I'm going to go ahead and just do it, and we'll go to, we showed this last week, right? And on a YouTube video as well. We'll go to empty slot, and we'll talk about this 4 verticals play, right? We talked about moving this guy over, putting the Y on a streak and the X on a whip. Okay, something like this. So our read here is cover 3, cover 4. We're going to want to hit this RB in the flat, right? I mean, not in the flat, but in the seam, right? So we know at this point, we're looking at the right side as our first read. Our second read, you know, depending on what it is really going to have to be something that's going to be quick. So in this scenario, there's really nothing great here other than RB. If I don't see the RB, I'm going to have to go to the A. But if they're blitzing me, that's really not going to work out. If they're blitzing me, it's a cover 2. I can also hit the RB. So you have to really just kind of understand what they're looking for. So you're looking here, hitting this guy right here, right? Because it's a quick read. The only thing that's going to take that away is the user. So if I'm having problems with this, right? I know I got to move this guy over. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change my route to maybe this guy's going to be a streak. And the reason why now, instead of doing that other setup, because I was having a tough time breaking down what it is, now I've got a simpler read where, you know, say it's like this, right? And I'm going to move, you know, let's baseline press, put this guy's right here, right? Now, this guy's going to jut out over here to stop it, right? I'm just going to leave him over there in this regard because I can't use two hands. So now what you're going to do is you're looking over there. He's not open. Now I got to throw it to this guy. So it's really about setting yourself up to know that I've got a read that I need to look at. And then that second read, it's either or. And those are type things, I wish I'll get out of this and show you in cover 2. You're going to start looking at it that way because it's really a tough thing to, you know, offense, when you know what they're doing ahead of time. I mean, you could throw and literally the ball should never touch the ground. I mean, in this type of offense that we're running, right? In that regard, because, you know, it's like stealing from them. But when it gets to the point where you don't know what they're doing, calling plays that have easy reads is really your best bet, right? So here's the 2, cover 2, right? So if I know that, like right now, you can see that if I was using, I'm going to do something like this, right? If they were using Campbell, I'm assuming that they're going to go right with him. See how he's lit up? So that's why I'm looking at the A as my second option, right? It comes in here, it goes through here. Now I'm throwing A inside, catching this ball and going up the field, right? And that's something that they can't cover both seams if they're blitzing you. So you just want to find plays that are a little bit more opportunistic for you to know I'm going to do this or that with the routes. Okay, so hopefully this one's an easy one for you. It doesn't seem like it's going to be. You know, it's just real simple, right? Do something like this to where now you've got 2 options, right? If they aren't blitzing, now I've got the ability that I've got the RB against cover 3, cover 4, and here's against cover 2, right? So we're doing this to where, say this is and they're blitzing us, right? So now you got the ability to throw this ball right here. And you can see how I'm able to catch that and get down as well. I know it's scary throws, but if you get them down, they're open. It's just a matter of being, you know, confident in your throw and being deliberate, and you're gonna be able to do it. So hopefully that helped you a little bit, El Shuhal. You know, it's getting to. I find that the ability to hesitate is the biggest thing that's going to hurt people against blitzing. You run your offense, you're confident, you're going to say, you know what, I'm going to here, no matter what they're doing, you're going to make that throw. If you're trying to decipher everything on the fly, that's where things get muddied up. So hopefully that helps you with at least as a opportunity to kind of at least approach it differently. Because when they baseline, the reason why they're baselining is so that you don't know what they're doing. But if you have a nice, you know, few things to be able to go to, that'll kind of get them out of it. So that's a play that I use. All right. So Hitch is asking how to beat mid blitz. Okay. Now, Hitch, I don't know what offense you're in, but I'm going to talk about generalities. Mid blitz is something that you should be able to see pretty easily. And what I mean by that is that if you look at the safeties, they're going to be at the 10-yard mark, right? I want to show you how I use it and then how we're going to talk about it a little bit later, okay? Now, if somebody's like this, they're probably going to press you. And you're going to see that a lot of times these 2 guys are off. I find most people try to move this guy down, right? So that way that guy's not so far off, but they don't do it to Amos, right? So the first thing I want to make sure you understand is that when you go against mid blitz, the best thing you need to have is some type of route tech, some type of short in, some type of routes that help you get separation if you're playing mud. If you're playing regs and you can just do the matchups, you're in good shape, right? But here, what you're going to see is that they're going to all blitz. I love this A route because when I put a short in and lead on him, he's going to get that inside leverage, and we're going to be able to throw it to him pretty easily and get some ton of yards, right? Now, this isn't the only route. Right? Now, there's things where you can do to where if you do it this way, say this X receiver in a stack is not going to get bumped, right? Because he's the stack, so they're not going to get hands on him. Even if they move that guy down, they move this guy down, by doing a slant, so say now they're waiting for this right here, what you can see is now the slant's going to get open right there off the break. And the reason for that is that the guy's not going to get hands on him. So another way to beat man coverage is using a stack formation, right? Another way is to do motion, right? So on this we don't have any motion that we can do technically that's going to really help us when it comes to going across the field. But a lot of times if we go this, do the short motion here, you're going to see that now nobody's going to get hands on them. Unfortunately, I wasn't really paying attention to the mid blitz there. But what you want to do is basically have that ability, and I'll go in a different formation to make it a little bit easier on myself, is to use motion and then hit the motion right away. So it all depends on what it is. Now, there are other routes that I like this whip route. It's really nice. It doesn't matter if this guy's close to him. You're going to be able to, beat mid blitz pretty easily. I want to show you just routes that you can go to that basically once it goes in, goes out. Before they get to you, that whip's going to be open. So you just really need to know how much time you have, what routes you can go to, and whatever the case may be when it comes to mid blitz. And that's really it. I was going to try to show you the just using a formation in which you can do a motion across the field and then using it. But usually when you do that, you want to send your running back out because that's usually the player that the user has to cover. So if you're doing something like this where you're moving this guy over and you're doing a motion slant, then what you're going to see here is this guy's going to go across the field, and by the time he does the kick, you have that ability to throw it to him. So you just really need to understand what your timing is, finding routes that are going to be quicker, and then that's if you're playing empty, right? If you want to block it, you've got ways to block this, right? Like if we go to empty Texan, right? If I want to do something like this to where I really want to block this, we have that ability as well, right? So I can go over here, I can block this. Now I've got 7-man across. And now I can block this, and now I have the ability, if I had any type of hot routes, I can do crossers on there. I can do the ability so I can put a slant here, but I got crossers or corners or any type of post. So now you've got everybody blocked up, and now you have the ability just to kind of pick one out of the 3 receivers. So if you want to throw out of empty, that way. If you want to block, you can do it that way. If you're in any other formation, I would suggest just making sure that you have the routes on a timer, because if you don't, then that's when you're going to get yourself eaten up. All right, let's see here. Does set feet lead and gunslinger stack? If not, what is the best? I wish I could give you a great answer on that. I have not tried the two. My understanding is that, they're similar in what they do. Gunslinger also obviously has a quicker release. And then as far as the velocity goes, I don't think you get double velocity. If anybody else knows that answer for sure, please let me know. I would always take Gunslinger over the lead elites because I feel like it's you're getting double benefit. You got the quicker release plus the velocity on the ball, whereas set feet lead or whatnot, you're just getting the velocity of the ball. If I can't have Gunslinger, obviously I would settle on the other two, but that's my preference. I use Josh Allen when it comes to this. I don't know why I got Trubisky in here. That's probably something I got to take him out. But for the most part, I use Josh Allen when it comes to being able to. Let me just go ahead and get this the right way here. Being able to use it in butt because I do like it. I also feel that taller quarterbacks are better with Gunslinger. I don't know if that's just a me thing, but I feel like that is something that I like just because of the fact that the taller they are, the less likely they're going to have their bullet passes hit linemen. I remember I used to have a problem with Vic a lot with that. When I had Wilson, I had some problems with that. So when I went ahead and used Allen, I really feel like that the trajectory coming from a taller quarterback actually just gives you a little bit better ability to get the ball to where you want it to go. All right, cool. I'm not sure what JLep is asking. What's the best man coverage play in nickel 3-5 wide Sam, and what's the best setup for it? I'm thinking he's saying which call to use. I find that the toughest to beat is either cover 1 or cover 2 man because of the way that they naturally play. So if I'm using cover 2 man, typically what I would do, if I'm going to get aggressive with it, say I'm going against something like bunch. I don't know if I have it. Yeah, okay. So something like bunch where You know, they're doing something to where like corner strike, right? And I'm basically, I'm pressing. I'm going to take the LB. I'm going to put him on a curl flat to make sure that I got anything on like outbreaking. I'm going to take Y. I'm going to put him on an inside third for anything in breaking. I usually will back up this player so he doesn't get pressed, you know, or lose the press. And then at this point, you basically have the opportunity of what you want to do. I like to take this X and put him on a hard flat so I don't have to worry about the running back breaking left. Now I've got this guy to roam the field, right? So yes, you're really not going and blitzing them. You're basically, this is a man coverage. And if you do that, you've got a couple things that you have to worry about, right? The first thing you have to worry about is any crossers coming from right to left, because that's going to be your assignment. You have to worry about your running back going from on an in pattern, a Texas route, anything that they go left and then come across the middle. And the last thing you really have to worry about is this guy going on a deep crosser across the field, the number 14 here. Because if he's doing a post, that guy's going to, you know, like deep posts are getting covered. But this is going to cover the most amount of people possible, and just gives you that opportunity to kind of be a little bit more free reign. So this is kind of what I would do when it takes cover 2 man, and I would change this up if I just wanted to do something different in a game. This is probably the most safe man coverage that you can find. It's beatable. It's just a matter of, you know, mixing things up to make sure that your opponent doesn't know what's coming next. If you just standard make this a cover 2 man, then they know what they're looking for. But now you take away some of those routes. This is kind of what I would do. Let's see here. All right, so you're looking at cover 3 match and man coverage. Now, you should be able to read the difference between those in most coverages unless they're base aligning. Cover 3 match is really something that is pretty easily able to be attacked by putting 3 players on the field. So like, I'll show you what I mean. Let's talk about cover 3 match. Let's go to just a standard cover 3 match. I don't want to do buzz. Is there a cover 3 match in here? Just because it's a little less. Okay, here's cover 3 match. Okay, so let's talk about doing different things. So empty tray stack. Let's talk about this. Okay, so on the right side, what you're going to see is you got 3 receivers, right? So if I was to take one and put them that's not on a vertical route, you're going to see that it's going to basically, if you look at that player, we'll go back to it. I want to make sure you see this. They're not matching, all right? The reason why is because there's 3 receivers over there. If you look at this, they're not going to match if not all 3 of them are going to go vertical. This guy right here, he's going back, and then he comes down. Instead of matching his player, he's coming down, right? So if I have a setup here where I've got 3 players, I'll do something like bench corner, where I'm going to do a simple flood concept against cover 3 match. You're basically playing cover 3. It's as simple as I can tell you, is we go to cover 3 match. So having 3 players, I'm going to put the RB on a streak, something like this. And I'll even move, I'll do it this way. And you can see here, this guy's going to come off this, and I'm getting crushed. But you can see how A is open. Let me just set it up without really worrying about, all right, let's do it this way. Double team that guy, slide over. All right, we're going to show it to you. So, okay, so if you look at that player, he is not matching anybody. And the reason why he's not matching anybody is because we got 3 receivers over there, right? If you were to do a doubles formation, like spread, this is where cover 3 match really works in people's benefits, because say I want to do something like this, right? Where I got 2 streaks on the field on the right-hand side. When I say 2 streaks, 2 vertical routes. That guy is going to cover and carry his thing to the number 10. See how he's covering A all the way down the field? So cover 3 match is really designed to man match when there's only 2 receivers. Now, in that same result, if you go ahead and you go to spread, right, and do cover 3 match, I'll do 4 verticals. Let me just double check to see how these guys motion. If I motion this guy, I think he stops. Let me see. Yeah. See how these guys are now both inside the numbers? Let's do that same route combination, and let's see if the guy changes. See how he didn't cover him anymore? And the reason for that is now we took a spread set and we compressed it. So cover 3 match is really only going to be something that's going to be viable against you if you're running a doubles formation or a spread formation where there's 2 receivers, one's outside and one's inside. Besides that, they're going to be playing cover 3. So if you're struggling, it's more about maybe the formation that you're using to get out of it. Now you can use this to your benefit as well, right? So say I'm in a different formation like go whips, right? So now what I want to do is I know that if I put 2 people on the right side, they're going to match, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this guy over and I'm going to put the Y on a slant. So the reason why I'm doing this is I want them to match. I want that guy to take the RB down the field. So now nobody's going to be covering this Y. The reason for that is because I knew that if I went ahead and did a doubles formation, that they're going to take those players down the field. So I'll show it to you again just so you can understand what I'm doing here, right? So all I'm doing is making sure that I know the rules of match. Someone's playing match. If I put 2 players, one inside the numbers basically and one outside the numbers basically, on vertical routes, they're going to match up. So now what I'll do is you can do 2 things right here, right? If I do this to where I do an underneath and a slant, what's going to end up happening is the vert hook's going to basically take the underneath, the Y is going to go over there, this guy's in my face, but you're going to see how that slant is going to be open all day. I love practice mode sheds, especially when you're trying to teach something. But that's really understanding cover 3, in that regard. Now, if we're doing something like this to where if you look on the left side of the field, see how those guys matched up as well? It all depends on what routes you have out there. So let me go ahead and look at it to where it can be kind of tricky sometimes. And what I mean by that, watch this here, all right? So if you look at the left side of the field, a lot of times what you're going to end up seeing here, see how that guy didn't match that time? It's because of the way that that in route was. It didn't get vertical right away. And plus, it's not inside. What I mean by that is you got to get somebody outside the numbers, like I said, to basically get it. So let's try this here and see how this works. See how this, basically, they both matched, right? Because they had a guy outside the numbers. So all depending on what you're wanting to do. Now, like I said before, if you're trying to get them to match, you can use that to your advantage. I could do this and put both these guys on streaks, and now I'm going to put somebody like the tight end on a slant to making sure that nobody's going to be over there, right? I knew nobody's going to be over there because I cleared that whole space out. So understanding match is probably your best bet to basically know how to attack it. So hopefully that helps you a little bit more. Rule of thumb, you got 3 receivers, they're going to play like cover 3. They got compressed set, going to play like cover 3. If you've got 2 receivers, one inside the numbers, one outside the numbers, and that's all you have on that side, they're going to match on vertical routes, and you can use that for your advantage, or you can at least understand why your routes aren't getting open. So hopefully that helps you guys. Continue with the questions, guys. I'm looking like the queue is starting to run a little dry here. I don't know if you guys can hear in my background, but Orlando is having some tremendous storms, and I got like simultaneous thunder and lightning. So if I happen to kick out for any reason, that's the reason why. But we're going to try to go strong until we aren't. Let me go see if I have any other questions that I can ask from YouTube that may have a question. Just so you guys all know, if you are on YouTube and you're a HuddleGG subscriber to our website, make sure you get your questions in Discord. I always ask to answer those first. Then I'll go into the other platforms, whether it's Twitch or YouTube, and we have a little bit of a delay on questions, and then we'll answer one of those and go back and forth. So it's just a sub benefit. We want to make sure. So Jay Troy asked a question. This is on YouTube, and he says, any tips on a person who's really good at current gen, but awful at next gen heavy passer? So really, it's the transition for a lot of us, is reps, to be honest with you. You got to understand the changing of a few things, right? The speed is the biggest thing. Route running is a little bit different. I think on your last gen, the route running is a little bit more precise, to where you get a little bit more rounded routes. But you got to also understand that on the defensive side of the ball, they're not breaking to the ball as crispy as they do on, last gen as well. So it's really about just getting comfortable with, understanding how your particular formation, your particular stream, your scheme works on both consoles. So say it doesn't matter what you're running, say bunch, right? You're running bunch, I'd go into practice mode in next gen and just run your routes and see what the separations are different. How's it different on man coverage? How is it on, cover 3? You're going to see that cover 3 to the sidelines is a lot easier on next gen than it is on previous gen, right? So you just have to go in there and say, make mental notes as you're transferring and saying, these are the things that are looking good from what I like to do. These are things that don't. What do I need to work on and make sure that I have a full scheme and kind of go from there? Obviously, if you end up being a HuddleGG subscriber, obviously we definitely have a lot of things that can help you overnight when it comes to looking at our schemes. That we've done all the labbing and got the pros to do their labbing and bring it to our site. But if you're trying to do it on your own, that's my suggestion: is get in practice mode, do what you normally do. Take notes of what you can and cannot do, and then start to adjust from there. All right, let's see what else we got here. Just give me a second. All right. As I'm looking for some more questions here, I just want to kind of give you guys a update on what we've just brought on our website. If you guys don't know who Drini is, he's definitely probably the most decorated MCS player in the last 4 to 5 years since he's been playing. He just dropped his tournament defense. And trust me when I say that I'm having a lot of fun using it. It's definitely something that you guys want to check out. If you guys are looking for offense, we jumped a bunch of offense that in the last couple of weeks. If you're going to hear, I talk a lot about my empty. Reason why is it's because it's the last one that I dropped. But there's a ton of things in there, whether it's bunch, whether it's from Clef, bunch from John Beast, who's the reigning belt winner. You've got Ghost's tight slots. You're able to basically go ahead and get good at the game overnight, and it's $9.95, right? Like it's something that for a month's access, there's no reason not to try us out. And then from there, if you're enjoying it, you see more, we kind of teach the style that's really speaking to you, then you stay subscribed until you feel like you're good. Or we got a lot of people that do the whole year subscriptions because of the way that they feel that we continuously pump out content to go against the current meta. We have our meta buster that we basically have pros that break down what's the newest things out there and how to stop it, how to attack it, all that type of stuff. So I know when I take questions and people ask like different things like that, it's hard for me not to at least explain what we have on our website, because it's the best $9.95 you're going to spend in Madden. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's going to be something that, you're going to be able to save yourself so much time. Instead of ripping that bundle or ripping that, something that you bought on there, you're going to get so much better as a player and earn so much more rewards just by being, able to learn the game from us, that it's just worth it. So, I just wanted to kind of plug that while I have a couple minutes to get some more questions, because I didn't want to go dry on it, but we go from there. Question from Griff. This is a good one. What was the biggest lesson you learned from the MCS tournament? So Griff is referring to the last tournament I was just in. Basically, for those who don't know, we just had a Thanksgiving tournament that's still going on. And what that is that you played several weekends. You got yourself, had to be in the top 250-ish, to qualify. A lot of great players didn't qualify. I'll be honest with you, when it comes to this ladder, I can easily beat anybody in the top 10, and I can lose to somebody in the top 250, because there was a lot of good players. I just want to put it that way. Our good friend Stiff, he was one of the last persons to qualify, and he ended up going 3-0 on his first the first day of the tournament. So it was just a bunch of great players. Let's just put it that way. I prepared for Prodigy. If you guys, for those who don't know who Prodigy is, he's one of the great players in Madden. He's known actually more of a regs player, and he used to be one of those guys that made a lot of runs. He's in the same crew as Dreeny, as in Ghost, as in Rage. And I prepared for him thinking that he was going to run dollar, and he ended up running 245 odd. And I got firsthand experience knowing what this 245 odd defense is that we got from Dreeny, because what ended up happening was they're in the same crew. I faced it my first game. It was a great game. It was 34-31. And if you guys know how I play, I'm kind of high-powered offense, and he definitely gave me some struggles because of the way that I had to read it afterwards. I mean, I put up some good points against him, but what it was is I couldn't take a play off mentally. I couldn't take off anything. I had to be, on my, my best in order to move the ball in all the case. And I guess what I learned from that is, the best people that are prepared for everything are going to be the best Madden players. I mean, I talked to Dreeny, and he lost to the same guy I lost to as my third game. I won my second game. I played the third game. We both talked about it. We had the same guy. He was playing single back doubles north and had a couple different runs that I swear got 3 yards no matter what you did against it. And he had Derrick Henry, and you'd hit him at the 1-2 yard mark. He'd fall forward. He had everything that you could have on Derrick Henry, and it was just one of those slow kills. And I made one mistake in the game. I was actually 14-14. I had the ball in the fourth quarter, and I threw a inaccurate bullet pass because of pressure inaccurate. He picked it off, and he held the ball for the rest of the game. What I learned from that was basically when it comes to, every scheme that's out there, you're not going to be able to stop everything all the time. It's just a matter of how can you adjust mid-game to be able to say, how do I, what can I do better here? And when I watched back that game, I noticed, I didn't adjust to where he was running. Could I have brought down a safety? Could I move the safety out? Things that sometimes you have to have a clear head when you play. It's a lot easier to think of things after you play. But there were things I didn't try, and I was being a little bit more conservative. So I guess that's probably the best thing I could say is, when you get to these games where one mistake can hurt you or one lack of adjustment can hurt you, sometimes you have to not be afraid to make that adjustment, because that slow kill was terrible. Every time I'm like, I got him. I hit him at the 1 yard mark, but he gets 3. And the next play, it was the same thing. I had to kind of set my ego aside and say, I got to try something different. I never did. And, he got himself into field goal range to win the game. So that's probably what it is. I mean, obviously this is story time, but that's kind of what the question was. Coach Dre is asking how to stop the turbo glitch. Depending on what you're referring to as far as stopping it from blocking it, stopping it from whatever the case is, there's nothing you could do offensively, meaning that to make the guy not do it, right? The thing with the turbo is it only lasts for a certain amount of time. So if you wait it out, then you're going to have that ability to a lot of times to be able to have it stop. Now, there are ways to do it to where you can kind of do a rounded way and basically, from a coverage standpoint, and it's tough. I'm going to be honest with you. I faced it in the tournament where people were doing, the turbo, and they can cover inside and out. My personal opinion is, that if you can mix up your run and pass a little bit more, kind of get them to, if they are turbo rushing you, to get them out of position. I don't believe it's going to be something that's going to be around for too much longer. I feel like, whenever something's front and center when it comes to being in a tournament and people are getting eyes on it and, Twitter's talking about it and all that type of stuff, EA does the right thing and tries to get the fix as soon as possible. It's just, I know everyone's timetables are different. And, eventually it does get done. So I don't think there's a way. I mean, you could definitely, depending if they go the same loop every single time, and keeping a running back in is going to help. Having, extra blockers so where there's not going to be a lane is going to help. But for the most part, there are different turbos out there. So I don't know which one you're absolutely referring to, but if there's one that gets more popularized, I guarantee we'll go on our Meta Buster and we'll have our pros look at it as well as myself, and we'll have the best way to stop it for you. It's just right now the only one that the dollar was the first one out there that Vulturax ran, and we showed a 245 odd one. That's very good when it comes to getting to the quarterback. If there's any that amount as, hey, this is the one everybody's running, how do I stop this? We'll definitely look at it and get you guys that information as soon as we can. Let's see what other questions is it. So is it better to play 2 to 3 tight ends when beating man coverage? I play with the Cowboys, and Cooper's the only one consistently open. Honestly, man, that's a generic question when it comes to your personnel. If you've got 2 tight ends that when you call 2 to 3 tight ends and they put linebackers on the field and that's a better matchup for you, great. If they call 2 tight ends and they put a nickel out there, you're going to be at a disadvantage. So I don't think that there's a actual answer for that. I think it's more about what can you do and make it that way. So I think that's kind of the the thing in that regard is basically your opponent, how they adjust to your 2 to 3 tight ends when you do it, and does that give you an advantage? All right. Let's see here. Gotcha Big Boy says, how important are abilities to the new 245 game plan? I'm going to CFM year 2 and my superstar and next retired. Can I still use it? The answer is yes. Really? I don't think it's really that needed, to be honest with you. Jerini puts 6 acrobats on the field and 2 unpredictables. All those people on defense, basically, those are all bonuses, right? Acrobat's going to give you a little bit more opportunity to get picks on plays that are closer to and get those diving animations, right? Unpredictable is going to give you that little bit of opportunity to get to the quarterback. Like it says, it's unpredictable. Sometimes they'll get in, sometimes they won't. But that's not what the 245 odd game plan is. Basically, to summarize it for those that are interested, it's about getting pressure on the quarterback, and because you're using the same exact look, people don't know whether you're blitzing, whether you're setting 8 in coverage, whether you're playing match. It's very, very tough to play call, because if you want to send 5 out, you're going to get screamed at. If you're going to do different things to stop the blitzes, there's ways to get the blitz in. And it's just really tough that you're making them play guessing all game long, and making them, like I showed earlier, really hone in on a couple different options, because if they don't and they try to go to their third read, a lot of times the pressure is going to get to you if you guess wrong. So that's what the game plan really does. It really forces you from a defense standpoint to be ahead of your opponent. And it just feels really tough on offense to be in that position, and that's what it does. Great offensive players are going to be able to move the ball no matter what they face. But I can tell you what, this type of defense, all it needs is 1 or 2 mistakes in a game, and you got the game won. And that's what this defense will do, right? Like when I played Prodigy, I moved the ball pretty well. Problem is that I made my 1 or 2 mistakes, and he won the game because of it. Because, if you force somebody to play perfect against you to beat you, that's a good thing, and that's what this defense does, in my opinion. The turbo glitch does not work on current gen, to my understanding. I tried it. I didn't find a way to do it. That doesn't mean that somebody else didn't find it. But the way I run it, as far as what I know it to be and how I've practiced it and taught it, it does not work on current gen. I think it's just something that is able to be done because of the way that the next gen momentum is and all that type of stuff. Let's see here. DSG Baller just asked, he just joined the Discord. Appreciate you coming in, bud. What's the best game to start with a heavy passer? I'm going to go straight to the empty. I'm a heavy passer. What I mean I'm a heavy passer is only time I run is when I stumble forward with my quarterback and it goes across that line. I don't run the ball very often. It's one of those game plans that when you get it down and when you get the reads, you're going to be able to pretty much dominate with it. It is a different style. So if it's something that isn't your style to where you don't like to be, that quick read, then obviously any of the gun bunches are great because, John Beast with his Carolina, he had the bunch offset and the bench halfback strong. You can't go wrong with that. Obviously, he just won a belt. Clef was the one that he beat in that championship game. We've got his offense on there as well. And, he's in another live event. So you see that's tried and true, that offense. And then I would say Ghosts. I would look at Ghosts. Tight slots, amazing offense if you like compression. And a sneaky one that I actually really like, because it's me, is Master Gamer's Doubles Week. I really like the way he ran that. The Chiefs is something that a lot of people like that I put out in the beginning of the year. It's definitely another style. It's really just what you like. There's no offense in there that I would say that if you're a heavy passer and you like it, it's just about what style you want. We've got, obviously got compression. We've got, empty. We've got more of a balanced one with the Chiefs and the Doubles Week. So it's really kind of what you're looking for. So what adjustment to stop cover 3 bombs on the outside corner? Pretty much every cover 3 bomb is just basically putting your outside guy in a deep half is the easiest way. You're going to leave open the sideline. That's the give and take. That's something that you would need to know. But they're not going to bite down on the the short side bomb. If you're bombing over the top, a lot of times what you want to do is as far as the cover 3, if they're going over the top from left to right, typically you could put the same thing with the short side player on the deep half to help with that. Pressure is really going to help you with that as well. A lot of times if people can't, they really have to buy time on those. And, in that regard, if people are throwing seam bombs, basically what we're showing here before where you're putting the Y, let's see if I can just do it this way right here. Seam bombs where they're throwing it right here in the middle right here to the Y. Basically, and it's not really a bomb, it's just, a hard play. You just want to man that guy up. That's probably the easiest way because no matter where he goes, you're in good shape. You just have to cover, anything from right to left with your user. But that's basically your best way. I feel like cover 3 bombs are being less and less used just because of the time that you need with them. But it's definitely there. If they get the ability to kind of buy some time. So you just want to put deep halves on the field. And when I say by deep halves, it's the outside corner, putting him in a deep half assignment. So now that he goes to inside, and that's going to help. He has to cover the half of the field rather than the third of the field. And now he's going to have a little bit more opportunity to at least recognize anybody that's going over the top for him. So that's basically it, guys. I know we just hit our 4 o'clock mark. Looks like we're out of questions. Again, I appreciate you guys, big time when it comes to showing up for these office hours. Got to get your questions out there. That's what we envisioned when we put this as part of the membership, was that it gives us a one-on-one with you, gives you the opportunity to kind of look at the stuff that we've been doing, ask questions on it, anything that you're doing your own, any type of pain points, and gives you that one time with me every Thursday between 3 and 4 Eastern. But then it also gets you a time with Bugs on Saturday mornings, different, type of outlook on things, different perspectives, where he may have something that he does differently than I would do. And it's great to get that answer from him, and then Banks as well, which I do it 3 different times. But again, guys, if you want to be part of this and you're on YouTube and you're not a subscriber of our website, just go ahead, check it out, $9.95. Get you access to the Discord, which is major. It gives you the opportunity to ask questions to anybody that's in the Discord, a pro. We try our best to really be able to, answer things as we go. If you haven't got an answer, tag us eventually and we'll, be able to get it. We're on it all day long. Obviously it's not an instantaneous answer, but usually within a couple hours, we'll be able to get you an answer on those type stuff. And most of the time, our Discord members already have been, they've seen so many of our answers that they're able to answer it for you, or they've got the experience themselves. And your question gets answered right away. So having that at your fingertips is a huge benefit. And then obviously all the pro content and all of the ability to get, you know, our offenses and whatnot, to be able to just get better at the game. It's great. So appreciate you guys. Again, I'll see you next Thursday, and you guys have a great rest of your day.